Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one, the only ICP. Now, you know me, I'm fairly high on ICP. And before we jump into the technical analysis and some of the basics, there are a few tweets that I want to go over regarding ICP. So, look, this one is from Steph Crypto, right? Accumulation. See, he even sees the accumulation as well. We've been going sideways for many months. And every time you go sideways for a long time, pretty much means that you should be expecting pumps in the future. Okay. It's a shift in market momentum, right? We can see going down, sideways. What's the next step? Going up. Okay. So there's that. And I also wanted to show one more tweet over here. If we go and look at this one, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that boom, there we go, right? So this is pretty much ICP versus some other cryptos in terms of transactions per second. And we can see if we go and play this video right now, boom. So look how fast ICP is going. I know my camera's in the way right now, so I'm actually gonna do this in real time. I'm gonna move myself in real time, but we can see Ethereum, PayPal, Visa, Solana, ICP. This is some serious business, right? This is some serious business. Ethereum, this thing is like a dinosaur, but investors are, happy and comfortable with. Now, obviously, this isn't everything. This isn't everything with ICP. There's a lot more technology, a lot more fundamentals to this. But look, man, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys. And while this continues to play, we'll go back down in the corner in real time. I've never really done that for a video, but boom, there we go. Where we go, boom. All right, so we're back. So yeah, man, look, all this is very, very awesome. Now we are going to jump into coin confession today because you guys have to be careful, right? You have to be careful. There's going to be more attackers, more scammers, more everything happening nowadays. Okay, I lost 7K to a wallet drainer. I've always been very careful. I guess not careful enough. There is no way I'm making this back. I'm finished. It took me 4 years to get this much, I guess money, the 7,000 with odd jobs and side hustles that cost money to start. I can't even go again, even if I wanted to. If you made it out on the CT, you don't know how blessed you are. And this guy said no crying in a casino. So that's not very nice. Look, man, look, you guys got to be careful, man, because one moment you have all those gains, the next you don't, right? If you're not careful out there, if you compromise yourself, then ladies and gentlemen, it's not good. It is not good. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to get serious is now. The next few months are going to be the most crucial time of your lives. Okay. We're going to have crypto exploding. And this is the time to get a portfolio review, right? You got to make sure you have the right cryptos. You don't want any old or dead coins, or you don't want anything that can give you little profits, right? So we provide a portfolio review. We've also been smashing it with the high probability meme coins. We hit an 11x, an 8x, and 5.5x in recent times. We also provide a weekly report on the crypto data, on the crypto analysis, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, on other altcoins as well. You get all this and a bunch more other benefits. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some money. Listen, anyways, right, we are going to jump into some of the basics. We can see on the month, ladies and gentlemen, ICP is down 15%. If we go and look at the last 7 days, we're down 5.4%. And then last day, we're down 4%. So a little bit of red. We can see we are ranked 48 out of 9,472 active cryptos, 2.5 billion market cap, 86 million volume. So things are looking good, right? We're very, very active. Then when we go to the actual technical analysis, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're currently at, right? This is what we're currently at. And we can see we are selling off fairly aggressively. Now, I do believe, we are going to be looking to be taking out all of this liquidity down here, right? These key zones have a lot of money. Okay, they have a lot of money. Now, this doesn't happen every single time, but you can see usually before, right? Usually before there's some type of trend, right? We have some type of trend line. We're looking very, very strong. then we have some type of manipulation, bait, boom, very aggressive buys, reclaim territory, retest, and then we continue to go higher and higher. Okay, so that is just literally one example. And I wonder if there's another example right over here. No, not necessarily, not necessarily, but this happens very, very often where we'll have some type of trend line, right? We'll have some type of trend line. You could have debated that you could have done something like this, even, right? You could have done something like this, more or less. And the reality is, we probably will be sweeping. No, we 100% will be sweeping this zone, and even a decent chance of definitely this zone over here, and possibly even this, right? Because usually what happens is boom, sweep, go up like this, right? Something like that. And we see it with Bitcoin. We see it with Bitcoin in the past, right? We had these lows over here. What happened? We faked below, and then we instantly started to go up the next few days. Okay, so expect manipulation, right? We know we're getting federal rate cuts happening. Federal rate cuts are happening this week. We know they're a positive thing for the markets, right? We know they're a positive thing for the markets. So the market makers this week most likely will be baiting us. They may bait us for the next few days until the rate cuts officially happen, and then we see recoveries. They may bait us for the rest of this week, okay? Because I've seen before where rate cuts go off, right? But the whole week is still kind of doing whatever its own thing. So let's say it's bearish, and then the next week it starts recovering, right? You also have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we are coming close to the end of quarter three, right? We are coming close to the end of quarter three. So, with that being said, I expect quarter four to be very, very aggressive to the upside. And then I also expect quarter one to be very, very good for us in 2026. Now, I know that's some time away, but ladies and gentlemen, we are slowly turning the momentum. Okay, we are slowly turning the momentum. We can see even on the 3 month candle here that we do have wicks, right? And every time there's wicks, that means there's usually going to be some type of tap in, right? So we talked about this. Instead of being a tap in this time, we can see is most likely going to be a sweep. And on the weekly candle, this is why I always say weekly candles are so important. This weekly candle looks absolutely terrible, right? It looks absolutely terrible and weak. This is a huge rejection in terms of buys, right? For other cryptos, they looked a little bit better, but I was saying, if the Saturday and Sunday are not strong and they're a hard sell off, then, ladies and gentlemen, it creates these types of weekly candles that cause more selling pressure, and that is just the reality. Okay, but we know every time. Look, before it started to reverse ICP, right? This wasn't the reversal, but this was a reversal. We can see what happened. It swept some of the lows, even swept this low here. Boom, it started to reverse and started to pump. So just be wary, right? Just be wary that there's going to be manipulation. Do not get scared. For me, this is a great buying opportunity to be buying. Let's just say in this lower end here. So let's just say somewhere down here. I think once you get to the 445 to even, let's just say 410, that's going to be a great, great buying opportunity. Great dollar cost average opportunity. So that is what I personally see. That is what I personally think is going to be happening with ICP. I believe there's going to be this manipulation. Then we're going to have the reversal. It makes sense with terms of federal rate cuts. It makes sense with terms of timings, and they want to flush out They want to flush out retail traders one final time before we officially start reversing for good. But yeah, that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I love you guys so, so much. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.